Ignat's corner, beyond Bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, flips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises! It just had to be. Dax corner and it goes, glance towards goal, and Rovers have taken the lead. And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season. It may well be the goal that sends Rovers back into the Championship.
Good evening, Rovers fans, and welcome to our post-match live stream after, let's not beat around the bush, a really disappointing defeat. Probably the worst of the season away at Wycombe Wanderers. Bottom of the table, Wycombe Wanderers. Yes, a very disappointing result for Rovers on Good Friday. And we are here to somehow try and chew that over without us reverting to thinking what needs to happen, but we'll try and chew it over and then maybe get everyone's thoughts about what's going on. I can already see the comments are absolutely flying in after that game. Lots of very disappointed people like us. Yeah, just what happens next? What do we do, Rovers fans? Help us discuss the game because we're going to need your help. And as you can see, we've enlisted some help from across the pond over in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. Forest City Trivia. Jared, you are with us. Thank you for joining us on the post-match tonight. How are you doing?
Good. Is this the first American ever to be on Rovers Chat, by the way?
Probably.
Do I get that illustrious title?
Yeah, Dan might have to confirm that in the comments, but I think you might be. Yeah, I think you might be. So good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to represent and bring some of my crass, loud American trolling brand of life to the show. See what happens.
That's it. Yeah, for those of you that do the watch-alongs with us and post-match, Jared is Forest City Trivia, as you will have seen in the comments. So good to have him on the show. Ollie, you're also with us. How are you doing, mate? How's your week been? How's your 12 days been without this emotion of, well, what is this emotion? But how's your last 12 days been?
I'd really missed it. I was sort of really happy to be doing the post-match in theory. But yeah, now I'm not too sure. After that, I'd really tried to watch the England games and be interested in them, and they weren't that interesting. So I really geared up for this game today, and then that happened. So, so yeah, not a very good return to league football, sadly.
No, it wasn't. And Alex, you stepped in for Luke on the watch-along. I was absolutely begging for a win so that you could have a win under your belt on the watch-along as well. It didn't happen, but thank you for joining me on the post-match and keeping me company on the watch-along as well.
Yeah, I think it's my duty to not leave you all alone as one of the team who watched the whole game on Rovers Chat. So, yeah, I think I would say that, commenting on what Ollie said, I didn't dupe myself from the previous 2 months. I did say, a private group chat on Twitter that I was dreading Rovers being back, and I think on reflection, I think that was a pretty justified comment after today. So yeah, I think we'll have to dissect that, and yeah, I'm not sure the result of that will be very, very interesting or very pleasant experience, but yeah, it'll be interesting to go through what we think about the way forward, I suppose.
Absolutely. So before we get stuck into that, Rovers fans, just a few reminders for you all. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. Please turn on all notifications with that bell symbol, and please give this video a huge like. I know it's not the best result, but give it a like, and all of our other videos a like as well. We really do appreciate your support. Super Chat is available, as it always is. If you did want to help us out on the show, we're always really grateful for the support that we've had, including Jared himself, who's supported the channel. So always really grateful for everyone's support. And before we get started, just a couple of reminders. We are sponsored by Blue Rose Capital, and we are sponsored by 6yardsout.com.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com.
They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below. Thank you to our very kind sponsors, Blue Rose Capital and 6yardsout.com. So, Jared, I'm going to come to you first as our guest on the show tonight from Ohio, from Cleveland. Just sum up your thoughts, firstly, about the game and how you think Rovers played, and then just what you think needs to happen now from a Rovers perspective and the manager. You know, how are you feeling?
Yeah, well, I'm from Cleveland, right? And I think that actually plays a big factor in how I view all this. And I don't know how many of you watching know a lot about Cleveland sports, but it is just a bloodbath of horror stories over the last 20, 30. 1964 was the last time we really won in 2016. But, it's been rough here, especially that Cleveland is a Browns town, right? That's our football. And I promise to only call football. I won't use the S word and square. I won't use it. But so we've been like traumatized and devastated here with just buffoonery for 20 years as a Browns fan. And so I kind of have seen this before. It's different clubs, it's different sports, it's different cultures and everything. But I think when a manager loses a locker room, I think it doesn't matter where you're at or what league you're in. I think the body language, I think it shows on the players. I think it shows on the manager. I think we as people are emotionally intelligent enough to kind of see that, even if we don't want to believe it. So I hate to be like super dramatic, and I don't even like American sports punditry because I think it's overly hyperbolic. But I don't know what's any lower than losing to WYCOMBE with one shot on goal pretty much the whole game. Like, I don't know how you can get lower. I don't know what an example is. And I'm not going to pretend to know a whole lot about EFL and UK football in general. I just know that I love it and I love watching it, but I just don't know how you get any lower. So as a fan for 20 years is all it's been, it's just extremely disappointing, extremely frustrating. And this has to be where something changes. Something has to change. It has to now. I don't think I think before you could have made a lot of arguments for why not to, but I don't see a path to keeping things as they are.
Absolutely. And if I just go into the comments, Dan, will go right up to the first comment that we had from RJ. Mowbray has to go for me now, unfortunately, end of the season. Barfly, is there any chance Mowbray will turn Rovers' fortunes around either this season or next? I doubt it. He's used up all of his goodwill. Daniel Davies, I'm going to come back to you on this one. I'm weirdly still Mowbray in. If you want to join us on this show, Daniel, come and join us. I'd love to hear your view. That's not to hang you out to dry. I just want to hear what you've got to say. If you don't want to do that, let us know in the comments what your reasoning is for that. Absolutely. Jacob, I want him to go because he won't be a legend if he doesn't. Fans will get angry. I don't want that to happen to him. Chris Walsh, 1 win in 13 games, never looked like scoring, players consistently out of position, no plan B or C by the manager, awful football, and for fans, no hope in sight, time for a change. And then Michael, I'll accept defeats, but the substandard performance this year are unacceptable. Yeah, Ollie, just they're the first few comments that we've had, and Jared just gave his view there. A couple of things I get. That's Jared's baby in the background for those of you.
I know. I want to do more so you don't hear my adorable child making adorable baby.
He's absolutely being super dad is Jared, and he's also got COVID as well. So absolutely bang on, Jared. You keep doing what you got to do. But Ollie, 2 things, I guess, then. So the low point of the season, do you agree that today is the absolute low point of the season? And then with that in mind, does the manager need to go absolutely right now after this defeat? How are you feeling after the game?
Yeah, I think I said at halftime in our group chat I said at halftime and then at full time, I think that it's the worst we've played all season. it's not been a very good season, and that's the low point of a poor season, which is saying quite a lot, really. Given, you look at the 18 today. I don't think many, if any, certainly not in the starting 11, would have been away on international duty at all. And he's bemoaned. So Tony's bemoaned not having time on the training pitch because it's rest recovery game, and sort of said, I want the players on the training ground. He's had most of those guys for some time on the training ground, and if that's what he comes up with after actually having them and working through patterns of play and whatever tactics they were going to employ today to beat Wycombe, dear me, really, really bad. I'm sort of don't want it to kind of ruin my Easter weekend, and I think it was so bad that it won't. I know Joe was saying on the watch along that it's sort of laughably bad. It's just there were some really good comments during the watch along that it's kind of gone beyond. Yeah, it's kind of gone beyond concern around, what if we get rid of Mowbray, kind of the what ifs. And I'm now kind of worried about just how things look with the team and how they're playing. You're playing Wycombe, who are bottom of the league, and you start with a midfield three of Tribal, Holtby and Rothwell, who have more than enough technical ability to dominate and dictate the tempo of the game, and play through Wycombe and generate attacks. And what on earth we were doing in the first half, I'll have no idea. Then the usual, make some changes, and tactically the only thing that looked obvious in terms of something we were specifically doing was floating diagonals over their left fullback to Gallagher, to then put balls into the box. But he ended up being the only recognised sort of striker on the pitch, and then his crossing is dreadful, and it was dreadful all game today. And he's crossing it to Harvey Elliott, who is never going to score a header against Wycombe Wanderers, even if you do put a good cross into the box. So then it's like, well, I don't know that we're not going to score a goal doing that. Rothwell had some moments in the second half, looked like the only player that was kind of really had a bit of fight and was trying to take things to Wycombe. But it's just, I don't know, there was no hunger or fight from the sidelines. Looking at the players on the pitch, just it's little things. Alex and I, there was a podcast we were talking about how teams react on the pitch to what's going on and trying to push, refereeing margins your way. The ball strikes Buckley's arm across his chest, and the entire Wigan bench and the entire 11 players scream handball and get handball. And that was the same with every free kick, corner, everything. And all game, it's just, there's nothing. It's just, that was a soft free kick. Shouldn't have been given, but let's just get on with it. There just isn't any desire or fight in the side. And that's, and then there's not much energy coming from the sidelines, and you just feel like they're going through the motions of, doing the things they've been told to do. But the only people that looked as if they had some real conviction were Johnson. When he came on, was the first time someone was running into the box to attack the poor crosses that were going in there. Rothwell kind of looked like he, I want to try and beat some players and shoot. And Dolan a little bit, but there's just no. Where's the drive to do anything in that match? So you just kind of think, yeah, it's got to change. Like, it has to change, I think. And yeah, bit dejected, really.
Yeah, very dejected. And Alex, we obviously did the watch along, and we've shared in the pain of that one together with all of our virtual fans like Jared as well. But you know, this game deserves to be dressed down in the way that it was. 2 shots on target in that game after going 1-0 down. Never looking like getting back into that game in any way, shape or form, against bottom of the table, against a side that has scored 12 goals at home all season and only won 4 games all season before this. And even the first 20 minutes when Wycombe visibly did come at us again, this is that same side who were bottom of the table. We were panicking and just looked like that they were going to score. Just from start to finish, really, today, it's just been a wholeheartedly dreadful performance, hasn't it?
Yeah, I would just go along with everything you said, Ryan. I think the one thing for me that sums up the mood in September to the mood today is you look at the 2 scorelines from the 2 respective games this season, the 5-0 home win and then the defeat today, and just the feeling around the club, the mood around the club is just so markedly different. And I think there's reasons for that. I think it's an accumulation of the last 2 or 3 months, I would say, of the season kind of just falling off a little cliff, really. I think the signs were there in the first 10 minutes, really, today. Mowbray said in the local media this week that we didn't really know what Wycombe were going to do, and it looked like that in the first 10 minutes. We didn't look like we'd planned for the way that Wycombe were going to approach the game. It seemed like we had prepared for a game where Wycombe just sat off us and just let us have the ball. And it really took us by surprise when they went very direct and very aggressive from the first whistle. So that's one thing I would pick up on. I think another thing I would pick up on is that the body language of the team and the body language of the opposing team and the body language of the management of Wycombe when we went 1-0 down. I've never seen an opposition coaching staff look so confident after scoring a first goal that they'll win a game of football than that Wycombe coaching staff today. You know, managers celebrate when the team scores a goal. That's fair enough, but you could almost tell with the look on their face that they'd had the 3 points in the bag, and we hadn't barely had 3 minutes of the second half been played, and so all of these things that we've discussed all season as being concerns are really, they're being hammered home now every week in, week out. And I think what I would finish on is by saying that, and I said this on the live watch along, that I think there's groups of fans that want to back the manager and want him to succeed. And there's no one who wants the manager to succeed more than me, because if he succeeds, then Rovers succeed, and I'm a Rovers fan. So it's nothing personal against the manager, but you see the way the team's playing, you see the body language on the sideline, you see the lack of leaders before half-time, after half-time, and on the pitch and on the bench, and you come to the conclusion that this manager cannot get the best out of this group of players. And then you look ahead to next season and you say, well, you look at the number of players that are out of contract, you look at the players that could leave, and you think, well, can this manager keep us in this division if this squad's weaker than it is this season? So, and I can only turn around and say, I don't know. And that's not a good enough answer, is it? So on the manager, my final point would be that 1 win in 13 games, and I've tweeted this, that 1 win in 13 is not bad luck. That's not refereeing decisions. That's not deflections going against you. That's not free kicks going against you. And it's not a better the devil you know either. It can't get much worse than this. It would be pretty hard for it to be worse than this now. And so that group of fans that have held on to Mowbray with that better the devil you know argument can no longer back this manager after today. And in light of that, I would say that the change needs to be made tonight. as far as I'm concerned. I've been pretty clear on my views on the manager. I've not minced my words. The manager needs to go. I said this before the international break. He should have gone then. He hasn't gone. My big fear is that we're in the same situation that we were in under 2 previous bad managers, in which it seems like the results on the pitch don't correlate to concern in the boardroom and concern in the ownership of the club. So from my point of view, I think I'm barking up the wrong tree. I think I'm shouting at a brick wall here. I don't think the manager will be sacked, but I just want to make my views pretty clear on this live stream today that this manager, I've lost all faith in this manager, and I don't want him to be manager of my football club any longer. And that's quite difficult for me to say about a pretty good guy. But yeah, that's the way I feel, to be honest with you. And it's just got to the point where the sight of him makes me annoyed. His voice makes me annoyed. I can't listen to his interviews anymore. I mean, I woke up early the other day and I put a pre-match interview on and I fell back asleep. That's sort of where I'm at with him. But yeah, I'm just really disappointed with him. And I just want the man to leave while he's got some respect. I really, really don't want this to get toxic. And I said this on the watch along many times, but I can't enforce it strongly enough. This is close to getting toxic. If fans were in the stadium right now, this would be toxic. He would be getting chanted out of the club right now. And so that's just how I'm feeling. Sorry for the incoherent ramblings of and reaction to that game from me there, but that's just how I feel right now about this club. Just really disappointed. I'll be honest with you, really, really disappointed.
It wasn't incoherent, Alex, and actually you said a really important thing in what you were saying, which I think all Rovers fans will agree on. So regardless of where you are on the spectrum of Mowbray in or Mowbray out, which people have changed and shifted from all season, everybody respects Tony Mowbray as a man. And that came through with what you said. But actually, I've seen comments today from people who I've seen all season back Mowbray, who have now turned the corner. And like what you just said there, where you're getting to the point where you're looking at this manager and now you don't want to look at him. You know, this is going to start getting toxic if something doesn't change. Jared, I just want to come to you because I'm really interested in just, American sports, I think, dwarf English sports in terms of how American people do it through school and just a whole approach to sports in America and things. And Tony Mowbray is probably a manager that doesn't stand on the sideline and he doesn't shout and he doesn't bark orders. He's not that type of manager. But today, I don't know why, it really grated on me that he just sat on that bench for the whole game. And not just him, but the whole coaching staff. There was nothing from the sidelines that I just saw that was trying to turn this result around. So where do you stand on this, just from what you've seen in American sports? And, did that annoy you as well today?
It really wasn't even that he wasn't animated. I don't actually like that. And the Cleveland Browns recently had a coach that was all talk. And that's all he did was talk and be charismatic in front of the camera and talk and talk and talk. But he did nothing on the field and he wasn't authentic. It was too much of this and not enough of this, Yeah. And so I don't like that. But what the breaking point for me was when Joe Rankin-Costello got hurt and he's limping like an old man for 12 minutes past his manager. And Mowbray's like, "Hey, I hope you're okay." It's like you can't stand up and give him a pat on the back. And that really was to me surprising that he didn't even give him anything more than whatever he said. "You all right?" or whatever. I don't know what he said, but the mannerisms and everything and watching Joe walk by him, I don't know, man. That part didn't sit well with me. So I don't need a loud, voracious manager. I just need somebody that feels like when I look at them that they have control of what's going on and that the players believe in them, and through their body language that they seem comfortable and that they have a plan. They can be quiet and boring. I want quiet and boring. I want boring, consistent manager, because that usually gets you consistent results.
Yeah.
You know, so it is weird. American sports that's too much to unpack here, but certainly that's part of the allure for me of watching the EFL, especially even over the Premier League, which I used to VHS record Premier League games. You all know how hard it was to watch European football in America in like 2003. Like I would VHS record the game and take it to my buddy's house and then make my American friends watch it and then make them all pick teams. And I'd be like, this team is like this American team and this team is like this American team. And my one friend, Sam, who I was in the Marine Corps with, picked a Liverpool because he said his liver was a pool of alcohol. And that's why he picked Liverpool. That was his rationale. So you know, like, so that to me doesn't matter, but I think Alex touched on a lot of good points. And let me say this to anybody who still wants Mowbray around, or like you all have, I think, brought up in one way or another, the idea that, well, then who are we going to get, right? And that's not how you live your life. That's not, has anybody here ever been or seen anybody or know anybody that's in a relationship and they're pretty much miserable, but they're afraid to go and do anything else. So they just stay in this self kind of C-, you know, relationship because they're what else is out there for them type of thing. So they just rather be numb or miserable 65% of the time, when any of us that's in a healthy relationship knows once you get out of that and you get in a healthy one, you're like, how was I in that one for that long? How did I actually use that rationale? And that's what I think is happening with Mowbray, especially because of everything we've been through with relegation and the trauma that goes with what's happened. And the fact that he did bring us back up, you know, and that he always is going to get respect from me for doing that. But that's just like, I think that's a lot of me personally and how I do just live my day-to-day life. But you've got to go out there and see what else. And I like Ainsworth. I mean, I like that he dresses like he's going on a date right after the game. I like that it looks like it takes him 25 minutes to put his pants on. They're so tight. Like, whatever. The guy seems like a good manager. Like, if he's available, he's done more with less than Tony has, bar none.
Absolutely. And Ollie, I want to come to you on this. You know, is Mowbray? So if let's just unpack this a little bit. So he's been in the press this week talking about the apparent lack of transfer budget that there's going to be next season. You know, he's been quite pessimistic about the fact it's going to be frees or loans or low value signings that we make. And then you see his demeanor at the game today, and I'm waiting to play the video that's on the Rovers, the Blackburn Rovers Twitter account at the moment, where he's got his head down like that again. Is this man now cutting a manager that has ran out of ideas, is miserable, doesn't know what to do next? You know, how's he coming across to you? Because that's how he's come across to me today. He literally could not give a crap today about that game. That is how he's come across to me.
Yeah, same. I don't necessarily always need a manager, you know, barking and dictating things at the sidelines, but, you know, at the extreme end of the scale, you know, with someone like Bielsa, you'll have Leeds will be 3-0 down and he's shouting at Luke Ayling for throwing the ball to the player he didn't want him to throw it to. And I don't need that level of micromanagement, but something like today, you know, we're sat there as fans. None of us are coaches. None of us are managers. But if he stood up and was saying, right, you know, looking at things going, right, Sam, shouting to tell Sam to come centrally and saying, right, Douglas, I want you to be overlapping with Rothwell. We need to get crosses into the box. Johnson, you're going on. I want you to be following up for any scraps on the edge of the box. And Dolan, you go out right, and I want you to be trying to get into just at least trying to affect what's happening on the pitch, where you'd go, yeah, okay, actually, that makes sense. And he's doing something. But just to sit there, like Alex is right. If fans were there today, this is one of those games. I've been at games like that in the past under previous managers. That's the type of game where you want the club to refund your travel and ticket that you've bothered to go all the way to Wycombe to watch that, and it's that abject. And it for then to see the manager there just sit there sulking and not doing anything, it's not enough anymore. And you're right that I think, forget who the manager is specifically, given the current situation and the club as we know it and the finances of the club, it is not a big surprise that we are not going to have an enormous transfer budget this summer and loan signings will play some importance. I think that's relatively obvious, whoever the manager is, pending, potentially selling Armstrong for a lot of money. But then, even in that scenario, if you're needing to get loan players in and potentially needing to promote a few from the academy and maximising the players you have got, you should be working on that now. That should be very obvious that you're looking to next season already, going, well, I know Tribal's going, I know who's going back and we've got some ideas about loans for next season, but really, if Armstrong doesn't go, I know what I've got to work with if I'm the manager next season. But where's the energy and where's the fight? And that's why, I'm kind of done. Just like Alex, I've seen a lot of managers leave the club, and when you get to that point where you go, it's gone now. It's like it's gotta go. And it's not enough when you're away from home losing again and that abject on the pitch. You have to affect the game. You have to affect it as the manager. And he's not. And if he's run out of ideas, if he's upset and frustrated with injuries, or feels we've had a lot of bad luck and the team are huffing and puffing, which I'm sure he's said in his post-match, you've got to do more, Tony. You have to do more. I'm afraid, for me.
Alex, Dan's going to scroll some of the Tony Mowbray post-match comments to us. They've really wound me up.
Surprise.
Leap Year Man has picked it up. Wow, just saw TM's post-match interview. Looks completely devoid of inspiration or fight. Is just another bit from that. So I'm just going to read a couple of things that he said. Or Dan's got it up here. So this, for a start, absolutely winds me up. So we've done these post-match streams before. He's compared us to Brentford. He's compared us to Liverpool. He's compared us to other sides. Today we're being compared to Southampton. Maybe because of the extra injuries those teams get, we fall into that category, like Southampton in the Premier League. And like us, they've dropped away pretty badly. And this is just absolute waffle. And then the other thing that, just to end his interview, this is from Rich Sharp, by the way, where this has come from. He's then finished the interview just saying, had I felt the performance level of the team was such that we deserve to be where we are, then there would be real concerns. But I don't necessarily think that. The results are the results and the table is the table. Alex, both of those things. Firstly, comparing us to other clubs, and then just finishing off his interview with Rich just saying, the results are the results, the table is the table. It just completely misses the point of today's result and actually the whole season, that it's just not been good enough. Where is the passion? Where is the fight? Where is this manager showing us that he is the one to turn this situation around? It's just dreadful. Absolutely dreadful post-match comments, isn't it?
I have to say, in amongst all of the post-match comments from previous games, that's the most stunned I've been. And that's quite a statement to make.
Southampton.
Yeah, I don't know why he's mentioned Southampton. Maybe he thinks if he loses 9-0, it's okay. Maybe that's what they're thinking. That if, I don't know, I've forgotten who we're playing on Monday, or Bournemouth. If we lose 9-0 to Bournemouth, it's all right because Southampton did it. Maybe that's the reason. I think, didn't Big Sam call what Mrs. Desai said to him bunkum? I think I'll use the same phrase to describe that post-match interview. Complete nonsense. I think we've heard a long line of excuses from the manager in recent months and weeks, and I'll just build on what Ollie said in terms of knowing when a manager's done in football. And you know when a manager is done when they start making excuse after excuse after excuse at every available opportunity to try and deflect blame and responsibility from their own shoulders. And that's what you've seen in the last 2 months. It's been COVID because Rovers are the only club in Europe that have had to deal with that. It's been injuries because Rovers are the only team in Europe that get injuries. It's been high-intensity football because no other club in Europe plays high-intensity football. And maybe it's the weather, I don't know. The pitch, I don't know. The pitch today looked pretty good to me, so I don't know if it was the pitch. And even if it was the pitch, we didn't pass the ball on the floor. It was in the air all the time, so I don't know why that would make much difference. So I'm just really, really upset that it's come to this. I'm really upset that a manager that we all held up as someone who was better than what came before in terms of integrity and honesty and treating the fans with respect, not taking them for mugs after watching a game. You know, it always used to be the case that, you know, we've had bad times under Mowbray, we've played badly and we've lost by big margins. And I've been at some of those games, but we've come off after the game and you know that the manager understands what's happened in that game, how to rectify it, and that there's some recognition post-match that there's actually something going wrong. I just see no recognition of what's happened. I don't see any solutions. And I think the big thing for me is exactly that. It's if this manager is not seeing the faults that we're seeing right now, then how does he have the solutions to these problems? If he doesn't recognise that there's a problem in the first place, which to me is indicated by his comments, then how on earth will he solve the problems that are quite clearly there? I think to me that is case closed. Yeah, if the manager can't see what the rest of us can see, then he's done. He's gone at this club. He's done. He's finished. And it's difficult to say that. It's not easy for me to come on here and say, "Oh, the manager's done." And you know, some people say, "Oh, well, he takes pleasure in saying that." I don't take pleasure in saying that. It's a tragedy when a manager's done at a club, but this manager is done, and that I can't really say any more than I'm absolutely staggered by those post-match comments, and I can't believe you came to me first to comment on them because yeah, wound me right up there, right?
Yeah, good. Get angry, dude. Feel alive, Alex.
Yes, love it. Jared, well, you're next, but I'm going to go to the comments first. So Chris Hayes, Tony sounds like a teenager justifying his poor grades on his school report. Agree, Alex, says Michael Pearson, a man of honour. Not so sure now if Coyle came out with this, we'd have gone mad. Absolutely, we would have gone mad. I hated Owen Coyle and I would have gone mad as well. And actually, Alex, you know, the stuff you were saying earlier and the stuff that we've been saying all season, you know, because we love Tony as a man, does he get away with stuff that Coyle wouldn't have got away with, or dare I say it, that bald idiot would have got away with? I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't deserve to have his name said. Callum Robinson, it's because he has no excuses to hide behind this time, Alex. He has to start pretending he's seeing something we're not. Barfly, he looks like he's not even bothered. It's like I say, get paid, you sack me, I get paid. And then Leap Year Man, I just want the manager to come out and say that was not good enough. We'll do all we can to improve. And that Leap Year Man is kind of like at the core of what I'm talking about when he's not on the sideline barking instructions or like he's trying to get a reaction out of the players. That's ultimately what I'm getting at here. That performance today was not good enough. That performance in the first half was not good enough. That performance in the second half was not good enough. So where is the manager doing his bit to show those players that performance is not good enough? And I just did not see that today. And that's absolutely what I want to see from him. So, Jared, I'm going to just change tack slightly. Firstly, Callum Robinson at 6:08 p.m. has said your accent is awesome. And I must say, Jared, you remind me of Dave Grohl with your accent, actually. I think you sound a bit like Dave Grohl.
Here's what will bake all of your noodles. We were born in the same town.
There you go.
313 whatever million people in America. Big, giant ass chunk of land. Can I swear on this? Sorry.
Yeah, you can if you want.
Good. Fuck yeah. And we were born in the same dinky Ohio town. He actually has an alley named after him called Grohl Alley. The town is Warren, Ohio, for those of you who are wondering. And I do play the drums too. So that's even more bizarre that out of all the Americans in the history of America, you picked Dave Grohl.
I love Dave Grohl.
Sure, I appreciate that. That's a great compliment. Are you kidding? That's the best compliment I've had in a long time. Mainly because I'm married, but that's still great. Thank you.
No, you definitely sound like Dave Grohl. But the point I was going to make, Jared, just on the game itself. So
yeah,
performances today from the likes of Sam Gallagher, Lewis Holtby. They're probably the main two, but then possibly a little bit Ben Brereton, others like that. We've seen some poor performances today from Rovers. In the watch along, there was talk about now's the time to give the likes of Conor McBride, Sam Burns, Luke Brennan. This academy that we all talk about is brilliant. And this academy that we all talk about is a production line of players coming through. Regardless, let's just park the manager to one side. It's now the time to start getting some of these academy players into this side to just really give some of these other players a kick up the arse.
Yeah, I mean, what other recourse do you have? And I don't even, I want to park the manager to I could say so much more about what Mowbray just said and all that. And it's ultimately, and this is where I'm very naive as an American, right? And this is why I love watching the show with everybody. And I love when the chat responds to my very naive questions, like, what's tea? But I don't know who makes those decisions, right? In terms of the academy, I assume it's just ultimately up to Mowbray and what he wants to do. And, I don't know the academy that well, to be honest with you. But I would think that at this point in a lot of American sports, what you see is at this point in a lost season, you have to play your young guys because it usually helps their development. It helps them along. Sometimes it does create a little bit of competition, especially that's why I think, football, I'll just always call it football and I'll call my stuff American football. But in football, I love that competition. Usually it's 2 or 3 guys competing for one position or whatever. And that kind of iron sharpens iron mentality. And I think for some American sports, that isn't at all true. And that's why I think what makes football so unique and why I love it so much is essentially 11 quarterbacks on the field, which in American football, that is the most important position. You can't win without a good quarterback. And in football, I feel like that you have 10, 11, whatever, So I don't see what other recourse you have. I mean, I don't see what it would hurt to try out some of these guys and bring some of these young guys up and just see what they can do. But at the end of the day, if you're going to play, and I don't know who it was, if you're going to play a 4-3-3 without the real personnel for it, and again, even me as a naive American, I thought it was strange how the game was playing out for that reason. I just don't know, what are these young guys going to do? You're going to come in and play them completely out of position and things are going to get awkward and crush their confidence some more because the team has no confidence right now. So maybe you get 1 or 2 young, brash guys that really want to prove that they can play right now from the academy. And maybe that's the best case scenario, So I would say do it. You have nothing to lose at this point. We have nothing to lose. Bring them all up.
And I'm just going to stick with you, Jared. So we're all coping with life after Adam Armstrong. So he's not started today, and we probably think he's going to go in the summer, and we're not going to see him. So this was a chance today, I think, particularly for Sam Gallagher, to show Rovers fans and to show Tony Mowbray, I'm your man. I can pick up this mantle. I can be that striker. I can be the one. Yes, at times he wasn't a central striker like Armstrong because of where Mowbray was playing, but he did have times when he was central. But today I just thought his whole performance was clumsy. That's the word I'm going to use, clumsy. The ball was coming into him and it wasn't sticking on him. His touch was just all over the shop. his final ball, his final pass, just stuff he was doing in and around the box just was not good enough. So, you know, what did you make of Sam Gallagher today? And has he shown you as a fan that is he the one next season for us to cope without Armstrong?
Like what Alex said before, I might be the wrong person to ask about Sam Gallagher. If y'all remember, my first intro to the chat was I put down $50 and said, Sam Gallagher is not good. So, look, I get it. Like, I know, I'm not saying he's not a bad kid. I'm sure he's like a great dude. And he seems like a good guy. Like, I want him to succeed. And so everybody watching, just understand, I want all these guys to succeed. I want all of them to fulfill and exceed their potential. I want all of them to grow internally and externally. Like, I want the best for every player, even the loanees. I want the best for them. But Sam, for me, cannot distribute the ball. Sure, he uses his physicality to kind of get the ball, but his vision is just, I'm sorry, I think it's awful. I think that's the word for it. I really am trying not to be hyperbolic, but I'm an American, so we can't help it. We can't help it sometimes, okay? So I think that this was exactly the game where Sam could have proved me wrong. And unfortunately, I think he kind of more validated what I've been saying, which is, and it doesn't matter how much he costs. Like, I don't care about any of that, you know, like the kind of however much they cost and however much you paid for them and what, it doesn't matter to me. What matters is, like, in this game, coming off a break where you're rested and the team needs you and they need you to add something up front. You played probably your worst game in a while. I would think at least one of the worst games since January, right? I think this is probably his poorest, if not one of his poorest games. So that's like the problem I have with Sam, you know? And again, and same thing with Biro. Like, I don't care how much these guys cost or what we paid for them or any of that. I want them when the time comes to play. And Brereton's misses. Like, y'all, I'm bad at football, okay? Because I've barely played. Like, I didn't play any organized football growing up. I actually only played pickup games in the Marine Corps. That's the only football I've ever played. I, play a lot of like basketball and American football and stuff like that. But I'm sure I could have hit the ball less bad than Biro did. My shot still would have been bad, but a couple of those scuffs was like nerves. Like, I don't know, So I think with Sam and guys like that, these were the times to show it to me. And these are the guys we have. So we have to, I guess, make the best of it. Like, how long Sam here? Does anybody know how long that contract is for?
I think he's got another 2 years, maybe. I think 2 years. He's not one that's come up in the conversations about being out of contract or whatever.
Yeah. And I like big, fast, physical guys. Like, I think Sam and Biro, and please, guys, jump in and tell me if I'm talking out my ass. But I think they both share some physical characteristics. And you could see it's like a style of player that Tony likes, But I don't see them. They just don't have the technical ability to find that second ball or to finish or to take a second and bring their head up. And maybe that comes with more maturity, because we do have it is a really young team. But that, it just kills me when I watch those plays. It's just so frustrating. I don't have to be a Rovers fan. I can go root for whatever team I want. I'm from Cleveland. I could just go root for Liverpool or Borussia Dortmund.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
My point is, I've always been loyal to Rovers, even after we got relegated. I didn't care, because I'm from Cleveland. We're a loyal people. So I'll always root for Rovers. And that's, I guess, my point is, I don't have to, and I just do because I really do love the team and I want the best for these guys. And I don't want to go be a front runner. You know what I'm saying? I don't. But I don't know. So I guess I'm rambling now too, but it's frustrating to think about for sure, to talk about.
No, you're not rambling. And, Callum agreed on Gallagher. I think Brio has the chance to improve. Keep in mind he's far younger and less inexperienced than Brio. And just with what you said, Jared, I absolutely agree. This was the game for some of those players on the pitch today to go and show the manager, I am the one. And there was just no reaction today. And that's what the disappointing thing was for me today. So, no, I agree.
Can I ask all you guys a question? Is that okay, Brian?
Yeah.
I want to ask all you guys.
First, because he's been sat there patiently waiting.
I know. I will.
Answer first.
Have you?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So, as somebody said, wouldn't you all just rather hear him say, look, we didn't have the right tactics today, and that starts with me. We didn't have the energy today, and that starts with me as manager. I need to do a better job motivating these guys, and this loss falls on me and my inability to probably put us in the better position to win, and that's not going to happen next week. I'm going to work with the lads, and we're going to do what we can to put ourselves and them in a better position. Like, how is that not better than the excuses that we keep hearing from that guy? Has he said all this before and I just missed it all?
No, I think I completely agree. I think he was certainly, for his first kind of 3 full seasons, I felt he was a relatively honest, straight talking manager. But now, yeah, I mean, I'd much rather, he doesn't need to dig out individuals, but just to say that was really poor today, it's not good enough. I need to take responsibility as well. We will go away and improve, because that also does need to happen. And yeah, the problem is that all of us want to get promoted out of this division. And this season, we believed we possibly had a squad maybe capable of certainly getting into the top 6. And this division doesn't care about a team that has a manager that is sulking, or a team that's feeling sorry for itself because Dak's done another ACL, as tragic as that is. Football doesn't wait for passengers. You've got to fight. You have to fight for every throw-in, let alone every goal, or fighting to stop every goal going in. This entire division is on the finest of margins, and the teams that finish in the top 2 and the top 6, and the team that wins the playoffs, are the ones that are best at pushing those margins their way. And that's down to everything, what you're doing in training, off the pitch, down to making sure you get that penalty when there is the slightest bit of contact. You've got to do everything. And at the moment, he's a manager that just wants to sit there and fold his arms. And you're not going to get anywhere with that. That football doesn't care. The league doesn't care if he feels sad about what's happened this season. In that cherry-picking examples of Premier League sides, why didn't he cherry-pick Leicester if he wants to make a comparison? They've got way worse injuries than most Premier League teams, and they're third. And what did Brendan Rodgers do? He hasn't mentioned Justin, Fofana when he was injured, Ndidi, Harvey Barnes, James Maddison. Do you know what he did? Took the squad and put in a new system of playing, and started winning football matches again. That's what you do. That's what a good manager does. And he hasn't bemoaned injuries once. So if he wants to compare us to a Premier League team that's had lots of injuries, compare us to that situation. Don't cherry pick your example. A, don't make stupid comparisons, and B, don't cherry pick them to suit your narrative. It's just come out and be honest. Like we need a manager and a coaching staff and a squad that's going to fight for every single point you can get in this division, and we're not doing that at the moment. So he needs to move on. And if you can't even level with the supporters after a match to say that's not good enough, then yeah, I mean, like Alex has said, it's kind of done, really. That's quite a long answer, Jared. I'll let someone else answer.
I love it, bro.
Great answer.
I love it. Yeah.
Here's a good answer, Ollie. It really was a good answer. And I just don't think there's more to say on it. I think between Alex's answers, Jared's, and yourselves, you've summed up everything perfectly across those questions. It's completely the end of the road, unfortunately. And, he's just not painting himself in a good light now, just in terms of the comments after the game, what he is personally doing to improve the situation, and just his whole demeanor. It's not coming across as a good look to me at the moment. It's just not good. Alex, I just want to come to you. I saw a comment, Dan, it was at 6:18 from Adam. Ǩeminski at fault for the goal, guys. Where was he? So we've not really talked about the game that much, but It was a great corner in, I thought, from Joe Jacobson, actually. I thought it was a really good delivery to put it in with that whip and that pace onto the 6-yard line the way that he did. Do you think 𝐒𝐿�H𝐿 could have come and claimed that ball, or do you think it was just an excellent corner?
My first reaction to the goal going in was that it was a very well taken corner. I mean, what would we give for a player that could whip a corner in properly? I mean, how many corners have we scored from this season?
And we've bloody got one as well. Barry Douglas, he can. He's got it in his locker.
Well, did you see the attempted cross at the end of the game? I mean, I doubt that from... I don't know what Marbury's been giving them in the food or a drink, but God almighty, terrible. But the first reaction to the corner that we conceded from was that it was a well-delivered corner. And I thought that it was someone that had lost their marker. I didn't see the replay well enough to ascertain who had lost their marker to allow the guy a free header at goal from 2 or 3 yards out, point blank range almost. What I would say about 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐿 is that he did look a little bit nervous in the first half, I think on the first corner or the first delivery into the box. But I think overall there wasn't too much that he got wrong. I think I'm reluctant to blame individual players for a systemic problem with the team and with the club and the direction that the things are going in. I think it's very easy to say today, oh, well, 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐿 made a mistake, we'll move on and we'll go again on Monday. You know, I don't want to do that because I think it's probably brushing under the carpet many issues that we've discussed today already, and I don't really need to go into them again because we've covered them in detail. But yeah, what I would say about 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐿 is that he must be looking at this team after being in the Belgium squad and thinking, what the hell am I doing here? Because the lack of quality that was on show today, particularly in the forward areas, I mean, 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐿 has been one of the shining lights of the season. He was one of the few recruitment decisions that we got really very right this last summer. It was an exceptional signing, and I'll give the club credit for that. But yeah, I think it's foolish to go around blaming 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐿 for the loss today. He was not at fault for the loss today. You know, we as a team did not perform well enough today to win this game, and that comes down to the whole side and the management. And yeah, you can't pin that on one player. And I've saved Ryan's blushes there because I know he loves 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐿, so I've not dug him out on live on air. So he'll be happy with that.
Thanks, Alex. Your check is in the post. You do not publicly slag off Thomas 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐿, as you well know. But yeah, I probably need to look at the replay again. Maybe he could have come and claimed it. But like you, Alex, my first initial reaction was it was a damn good corner in, really good whip in. And obviously disappointing that someone's heading the ball in from 6 yards out. So we're going to look to finish the stream very shortly, Rovers fans. So do get in your comments and your views before we do finish. I'm going to go around the panel again, though, starting with Ollie, then Alex, and I'll give Jared the final word on today's stream as our guest, as a motorbike goes racing past my house. My apologies for that. So, Ollie, just what? So we've got the game against Bournemouth on Monday where, like, are we really going to be sacking a manager with a game so soon? Who knows? Maybe we might be. But if Mowbray's still in charge on Monday, which he's probably likely to be, what does he need to do on Monday to get the result against Bournemouth? You know, who are you wanting to see in that side? What do we need to do differently? What formation do we need? Etc., etc., etc. How do we get that result against Bournemouth on Monday?
Oh dear. I was just going to say on the 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐿 thing, my take on it, I think he made a half-hearted claim that he was fouled to the referee. But anyway, I think that's from when I saw the replay. What needs to happen on Monday? I don't know. I think I'm sort of now thinking, because I sort of expected Armstrong might have been back today and he wasn't, that I'm wondering whether Mowbray, that unexpected start that he had, having done his hamstring to some degree, whether that has ended up meaning he's now missed. That's why he's continually missing, because he tried to give him a game early. But if Armstrong's back, he has to come into the team because, yeah. But what I don't understand is how do we play that well against Norwich without Dak and Armstrong and then play like we played today? If JRC, if it's something that's going to be, let's just say he probably won't be playing. I didn't think 𝐒𝐈𝐄𝐍𝐒 was very good today. If we were looking at what would I like to see, maybe give Dan Pike a game. I don't think, if 𝐒𝐈𝐄𝐍𝐒's got half a foot out of the club anyway, and JRC's not fit. Conor McBride, we need a focal point if we're going to be playing 4-3-3. We need a striker that scores goals. He's a striker that scores goals for our under-23s. Brereton and Gallagher were pretty poor today. I don't see what you're losing by it. Just bring him in to the 18, let alone, at least so there's an option to bring him on. I don't know what we do on Monday. Of course, I don't think Mowbray's going to have gone between now and then. I suspect we're probably likely to see a very similar system as we saw today, with somebody playing the false 9 that's not suited to playing it, and getting frustrated about Brereton and Gallagher. But hopefully I'm wrong. But I wish there wasn't a game on Monday for some reason. No, I'm not sure. If we can pull out a performance like we did against Norwich, we're more than capable of beating Bournemouth. But if we play anything like we did today, I think they won today, didn't they, Bournemouth? 3-1?
I think it was. I'll just have a look at the results while short
I think I'd definitely score flash
3-1,
up. They'll be looking at us as another 3 points. So I'd rather see us not go, 1 win in 14. But
Alex,
not very good.
No, it's not. Alex, just for your final say then, we did touch on this on the watch along, how depressing it is to be having this type of conversation, but I'm going to do it. So Rotherham do have 4 games in hand on Rovers and 3 games in hand on the sides who are immediately above them. So I'm assuming that Rotherham are going to get 3 points out of those 4 games in hand to get them to at least 38 points. So if we just assume that 38 points is the true line for the relegation zone at the moment, Rovers are only 8 points above that line at the moment. So first question is, are you holding any fears of relegation or being sucked into that relegation battle at this stage? And secondly, if that's not the case, on a run of 1 win in 13 games, where is the next win coming from? How do we turn this tide around? What do we do between now and the end of the season?
I think it's a very important question. It's justified with the form that we're on. What I would say is that although the form is dreadful, there's no doubt about that. The form is utterly dreadful. We're only losing games by 1 goal. And we're picking up enough draws to squeak over the line, in my opinion, regardless of what the other teams do. I think we'll probably end up squeaking 4 more points, and that puts us on 50 points. And it's very difficult to see then how we'd get relegated. I mean, we have been relegated on 51 points, but this does seem to be a lower points total season. So I just want to reflect on the fact that we're even having this conversation. I think that's an indication of the last 2 months, isn't it? That, why are we having this conversation right now? It's because it's not been good enough, has it? And, in September, we all set our expectations. Some were higher than others. Some people thought we could get in the top 6. I thought before the deadline day signings, I predicted 12th, but I thought after the deadline day signings, I was more optimistic than that. And we've just not performed to that level. And that's why we're in the position we're in. We deserve to be where we are in this league table. We are where we are in this league on merit. We are the 15th best team in this league. And you look at that league table and you say, well, do you think Birmingham will get ahead of us? Do you think Sheff Wednesday will? I would probably say that Wycombe and Sheff Wednesday are probably already gone. I think we'd all agree on that, looking at the league table. I think Wycombe are 8 points adrift. Sheff Wednesday are 6 points adrift. I can't see those teams making up the ground, particularly if Rotherham win their games in hand. So you then look at Birmingham and Rotherham, don't you? You know, Birmingham on 38 points, Rotherham on 35 points. The simple truth is that one win gets us over the line. One win and a draw or 2 draws is enough. And with the games that we've got in the running, we do play a lot of the teams fighting at the bottom of the league. I can't see how we don't get that one win, but you never know. You know, I think the moral of the story is ask me in 4 games, and if we've lost the next 4 games, then we really are in a panic. You know, bring the smelling salts out then. You need to take me out in a stretcher. But I think in all seriousness that relegation is unlikely. But yeah, the fact that we're even having this discussion tells you all you need to know. Yeah, bitterly disappointed, but yeah, I think I've said all I need to say tonight. I think people are pretty aware of my opinions on it all, so I'll shut up now.
So I've deliberately come to Jared last because I want to ride the wave of that American positivity and zest that you brought to the show, Jared. We are not letting Blackburn Rovers ruin our Easter weekend. We're going to all go and have some fun over this next weekend as much as we possibly can. So, Jared, I just want to really come to you just firstly to say maximum respect for you fighting COVID and looking after your child at the same time as dealing with Blackburn Rovers. That's 3 things right there. That
the Wycombe loss is the hardest of the 3.
Yeah. So there you go. If ever you wanted that summing up, Rovers fans, there you go. But Jared, just I guess just give us something. Give me some American positivity. Give us something. How does this get better for Rovers? What do we need to do? How do we turn this around?
Well, I think we all remember that at the end of the day, and it's different for me, all right, because I'm not born and bred. I'm not from down the street, right? I love how the stadiums are in neighborhoods over there and how, you know, I watched Sunderland Till I Die, which gave me as an American so much insight. You know, I don't care if it was a show and over dramatized. That is the most insightful representation of like lower tier football that is available to someone like me. So, and that really kind of helped me better understand like how closely knit these are to your heart and your identity and your community, etc. So I'm not saying this to like belittle any of that, but at the end of the day, like we all got families, we all got our lives. It's a nice Easter, right? Like things aren't as horrible maybe as they were this time last year. So like we have that going for us, which is good. We have like life, gentlemen and ladies. Like we get to go and enjoy our weekend. And I don't think that we should let this game taint our entire Easter weekend. And we really shouldn't think about Monday till Monday's here. Like that's what I would say is just go enjoy your Saturday and Sunday. I don't get to go anywhere. Just like I think, are y'all still in lockdown, by the way? Are y'all locked?
A little bit of a lockdown. We're kind of easing out of it at the moment.
Good. But you could like go.
I think the only thing we're allowed to do is play golf. I think that's about it.
Ugh, I hate golf too.
And go to the supermarket. I think that's pretty much it in the UK.
What I wouldn't give to be able to go to the supermarket right now. I'm stuck. Basically, I try to stay in this room because I don't want to spread my germs all over the house, you know. So we bought a house and I'm like in one, I'm like confined to like, this is like my cell. I mean, it's a nice cell. I've decorated my cell, but so look, I would say this though, all right, about the Rovers, that there has to be a change because subconsciously, when you keep making up all these excuses and parallels and drawing all these comparisons, that soaks into the psyche of your players, of your staff at the club, of the other staff members around the club, the people that do all like the thankless hard work every day that aren't famous. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like all those great people. And that's what I'm saying. When I'm a Clevelander and y'all are Blackburn, like blue collar steel towns, you know, that where I'm from is the steel area as well, right? I know that's how y'all, you know, kind of forged your identity for a long period of time. And same here. So like to, you know, for all that it seeps in. It's kind of contagious in a way, and you have to get rid of that somehow. And I'll give you like one example is the Cleveland Browns last year. We lost like 5 players, 3 starters, and like 3 coaches, including our head coach, to a COVID outbreak right before our first ever playoff game in 25 years. And nobody made excuses. The players never said, well, this or that, or all we can do is go out there and try and play. And if we lose, we lose. There was none of that. You know, it was so unique and strange to see that the mentality had changed that much, that even with all those guys out, it was, no, there are no excuses. We're preparing to win this game. Our focus is winning this game. We don't care. You can bring that up all you want. We're preparing to win the game. That's all we're trying to do. And you need somebody there, whether it's above or below, you know, Tony Mowbray, and I'm sure there are some people in that organization, but you need those people to come to the forefront, or you need to find those people that are going to lead from that kind of emotional, psychological point of view, because I think that's so important. And that's one thing that I couldn't wait to really do this. Like I was so excited to do this because I wanted to say that for so long, that all these excuses have been driving me crazy. You know, they really have. Because I think if he would have stopped using those and just said that kind of stuff at the get-go, we wouldn't have 1 win from 13. Maybe it's only 4 wins from 13, but it wouldn't be 1. So, you know, I think that's the silver lining, is that we go and enjoy our weekends, and we hope that something somehow changes where you've got some people that are going to stand up and kind of say there's no more excuses, no more bullshit. We need to get results, and we need to all play better, because this team on talent alone, on paper alone, you know, and I know it on paper based off what, like Football Manager, right? Which I play but should not be this bad. But I just want to say I really appreciate the time to do this, and I'm glad to finally like interact with all of you a little bit, so you understand that I am really passionate about this team and this community that I've been able to be privileged to kind of become a part of. And I think that as a Browns fan who's gone through so much trauma, I can tell you that when it gets better, it'll feel so much better. And I think it will get better. It has to. You can't get worse than 1-0 to WYCOMBE. So let's just hope Monday we get some shots on goal and play with pride. Do you know what I'm saying? Play with pride, play with effort, play like you got nothing to lose, because you really don't. Nothing's promised. I got an 85% chance of being okay. That doesn't mean I don't have a 15% chance of it all going south for me. So I'm going to enjoy my weekend. I'm going to enjoy that game, and I'm going to live my life like, you know, this is what I get. Nothing's promised. You just go fucking enjoy your life, y'all. So that's what I got to say. Hopefully that gets some people out of the funk.
That was spot on, Jared. I knew I could rely on you for the final words. So if any Rovers fan needed a pick-me-up for their weekend, do not let this result ruin your weekend. You heard Jared say it. Go and enjoy your Easter weekend. I think we all agree on what needs to happen next. You know, I think we all agree that this manager is not the one to take us forward. So hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. But until that point, we will all share the despair of those Rovers results together on the watch-alongs. We will all come together on the post-matches and dissect the games as we usually do. And if and when we get that new manager, then hopefully we can look forward to some better times as Rovers fans. So I just want to say thank you to Jared, to Alex, to Ollie for joining us on the post-match. Really appreciate your time. Thank you to all of you Rovers fans who have interacted with us on either the watch-along or the post-match tonight. We really absolutely do this for everybody. We had a nice little graphic just pop up there as I was talking.
Apparel, everybody. Apparel.
It is apparel. You know it's apparel, Jared. You know. Thank you to everyone that supports the channel and everything like that. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, it is Rovers Chat on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button. Please turn on all notifications with that bell icon And please give this video a huge like, and all of our other videos a like as well, because we do it for the love. We love it. Things will get better. There you go. The like symbol, as Jared is showing. And we will be back on Sunday night. I'll be doing On the Other Side on Sunday night with the Bournemouth fan before the game on Monday. And then we will be here 2:30 for the watch along. And then round about this time as well, 5:15, 5:30 for the post-match live stream after Bournemouth as well. So we will just finish with 2 things or 3 things. Goodbye to you all. Bye, Jared. Bye, Ollie. Bye, Alex. Enjoy the rest of your days. And we will leave you with our 2 sponsor messages, Blue Rose Capital and 6YardsOut.com. See you later. The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6YardsOut.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.